Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where last episode we lost the grasshopper, which is unfortunate to be sure, but we are working on getting a replacement, that being the avatar. Now, I don't know that that's going to be exactly a drop-in replacement for the grasshopper. I think it'll be okay. We didn't use the grasshopper for as much punching as I thought we would. It didn't end up getting close enough for that usually. So that's okay. We can tick forward a few days here. We're almost certainly going to have to take the month tick at this point, but that means that Plato can come back. That means that we can finally get the Epimetheus back. We'll let our hospital staff do their job. Plato suffered 2 injuries. Okay, so Plato might not be back yet. Plato's condition has deteriorated. That is very, very sad, and he is 27 days away now. So we're going to have to bring a substitute, almost certainly. We're going to hit this financial report. That was quite expected at that point. We're still going to run extravagant on our financial report, even though that's kind of counterproductive for what our goal is right now. I'm still going to do it. Cool. So the Epimetheus is finally going to be back in 4 days. It took a lot of damage. There we go. All work orders are... No, stop. Stop ticking. Okay, all work orders are complete. Let's double check everything's good to go. Actually, the Epi is not done. What do we need on the Epi? I thought that we already manually repaired all of this. What's it lacking? It's just tonnage? It's just tonnage. Hang on. Why are we receiving this notification? Why is it unfieldable? We're lacking something. Something is not right here. What's going on? What's this tooltip say? It requires heatsink cooling. We have a double heatsink kit here, but we have regular heatsinks. That's the problem. Okay, why do we have a double heatsink kit? Well, we could definitely ditch these regular heatsinks. We're going to have kind of overkill with double heatsinks. 3 slots here, but that's a movable slot, so that should be okay. And then we have movable slots out over here. So that'll take 2 additional days to get the Epi Prime done. It is still underweight, and there's not really too much we can do about that. I'm not entirely sure how that happened. We had a double heatsink kit and single heatsinks. Okay, well, let's hop into the barracks and see what we can do. Of course, Plato is injured, so we don't want to train him. That can potentially cause issues. Anybody else, though, that needs training? Let's see what we've got here. Well, actually, yes, Savarok can get a point of gunnery. That will be fantastic. Squire can get a point of guts. Sure, that seems fine. Succubus can get a point of gunnery. Absolutely. Gunnery is one of the best things you can get, period. And that is it for now. Okay, so we're ready to deploy Sans Plato. Plato is, of course, not going to be ready to deploy. And what does he pilot again? The Grasshopper. Okay, well, that's kind of convenient because we would need somebody else to pilot the Avatar anyway, because his affinities aren't correct there. So... we've got Squire, and we've got... who's our other substitute pilot? Dan. It's probably going to be Dan that is going to be in the Avatar from here on out. Plato is probably going to be a substitute pilot now because those affinities are not ideal. Okay, so let's hop into the command center and see what we've got available here. So this is a recovery mission. It's low payment, but that probably means we can get through it pretty quick and easy. And I think we're going to do it. So we're probably not going to go for salvage here. We're going to go for max payment. We would like to get something done quick and easy for sure. So that means that out over here is not a mech slot. Where does the Grasshopper go? The Grasshopper is going to have to go here. We're going to move the Devastator and Succubus out over here. Squire has affinities already, and so cannot get affinities for the Avatar. So I'm going to put Dan and the Avatar in here. Then we're going to swap out the Bandersnatch for the Epi Prime. And Savarok here can pilot both. Okay, that looks good. So we're going to save this as an... in fact, we should delete our current standard layout. Then we should save this as our standard layout. There we go. And now let's see how this goes. I don't expect significant issues here. This should be pretty simple. See you guys after the loading screen. So here we are all loaded up. That didn't take very long, and I really don't expect this to be all that big of a deal. In theory, we shouldn't take all that much damage, although I don't like this spawn location. Okay, let's see what we've got here. So, this is the designated location. This is the secondary location. Sure. I don't really like spawning in this valley. I especially don't like spawning on that mountain. We could spawn over here, but I feel like that's a really long ways away from the target zone as well. Okay, the valley is, I think, the best we can do, but it's not going to be pretty. We're going to spawn out over here as best we can. Something kind of like that. And we're just going to have to make our way up. Okay. So the Nidhogg is probably going to be responsible for the secondary location, if I had to guess. Well, we have some enemies detected, and let's see where they are. So that's an Owens. That's a Stalker. That Owens is not a very big threat at all. That Stalker is maybe more of a threat. That is a Misery variant. I wonder what armament that has. If it has, like, Arrow 4s, that could be a problem. Moves in phase 23, so it moves forward and looks at us. Okay. That's absolutely fine for the moment. Eventually, we'll get to look at it. So it's got one missile weapon, mostly energy, and a ballistic weapon. Noted. First things first, the archer is not what's moving here. That'll be the crossbow X. And we want to sprint this forward as much as we possibly can. Now, this would give us eyes on one of these units, but I don't really mind that. We're just going to head forward as much as possible. And we are looking to see where additional enemies are. I believe I saw that that was a Marauder, but I'm not 100% certain on that. So next up is our Archer, and the Archer is going to sprint forward maximally, which is not very much in this forest. I really don't like this approach. But I also felt like there wasn't really an option. So this crossbow is going to position here for right now. Looks good. What else do they have out there? Whatever it is, we don't know. So the Black Knight is going to advance up over here. Artillery right in this corridor would be problematic for us right now. No doubt about that. The Rifleman is going to step forward here, and next up is going to be our Epi Prime, positioning right there. Okay. Next would be our Marauder, right up over here. We're just trying to close in as much as we can. Next would be our Nidhogg. I want to put the Nidhogg up here as a scout.
Copy that.
Okay, so that's a Dragonfire. Noted. The Marksman SPG doesn't really need to move forward all that much. It's mostly just an LOS thing. The Avatar is going to head up over here. There we go. And then the Demolishers are going to do what they can. Or rather, the Devastators. There's not a lot that they can do. They're in forest here. They're not going to get going very quickly. Tanks are not good in forest, as it turns out. So we're going to move them up, and that'll be fine for now. Next round comes through, and they have a phase 25 mover, which is neither of these. It's actually that Dragonfire. The Dragonfire does nothing at all, and the Stalker moves now. Let's see what he's got. A Gauss rifle and what looked like possibly SRMs. Yep, an SRM-6, as well as some lasers. Okay, that doesn't seem too bad. The Owens is going to move next, and it'll be a little hard to hit. It'll have some decent evasive, but there's not a lot it can do. So that'll be fine. It positions up over here. Also going for the Nidhogg there. Looks good. So we're going to get to move very soon here. There we go. So the crossbow could position here. We could also sprint it forward and position it here, which would technically allow us to fire on this Owens, although almost certainly we want to fire on the Stalker. Yes, that is absolutely what we want. I'm going to fire the improved MRMs, and let's light this guy up. Good clustering out in that arm or torso. I'm not sure which. We also got a head hit there. Okay, that sounds good. Arm and torso. Noted. So that is fine for now. That is indeed a Marauder out there. Okay, so we now know that that is not a huge threat. This lance is not a huge threat to us. We're going to fire on this Stalker into that weakened side arc. Getting a smattering of damage there, but that didn't feel like a particularly good shot. But we definitely are chipping down the armor over there. Uh-huh. Now, that is a unit that we don't know about and does not belong to this lance. Interesting. So there's definitely another lance out there. So our Marauder can move forward a little bit. I don't... this position's okay. Yeah, we'll put it there. And then we'll fire on this Stalker. We're almost through its armor on this side arc. That's a structure exposure. Beautiful. And he's now unsteady. So this Stalker is not doing well. That's for sure. Next up is the Black Knight, and I would love to put the Black Knight. I guess here will do.
Heading out. Full speed.
Do we fire the binary laser in binary mode? I think we do. We did manage to hit it, so that's good. Gauss Rifle crit there.
This just in. Critical hit.
But we didn't get it blown up or anything, so that is a little sad. Yeah, there's definitely units out there that we don't know about. So this is a Cyclops.
Commander?
Okay, that is noted. I'm going to leave the crossbow where it's at, and we are going to fire on this Stalker. This is likely a kill shot. Gauss Rifle Explosion, left torso destruction. It's not running an XL engine, so, I mean, it's a knockdown, but it's not a kill shot. If it was running an XL engine, which I assumed it was, I guess erroneously, then that's not a kill shot. 1 HP left in that leg. Okay. That Stalker is not going to do very well. So who do we want to fire on? Possibly the Dragonfire here. These are the units that we know are clumped together. So let's get some armor damage here. There we go. Perfect. So next up is going to be our Devastator. I don't think we're going to get this into any sort of a useful position at this point. Yeah, we just got to make our way up through here. That's all there is to it. So the Rifleman can position here and can take this side arc attack on the Stalker. We want this to hit the CT if we can. Large laser destruction there. Okay.
Taken a critical hit.
I'm a little surprised that that Stalker didn't eject there, to be honest. He's got such little HP left.
Yes, boss.
The Nidhogg is going to move up over here. I'm not going to sprint it. We're just going to move it here. And we're trying to determine where these enemies are, right? So for the time being, we're just going to fire the Snub-Nosed PPC at this Stalker. CT hit there. The pilot panics, but he hasn't ejected, remarkably. 24 HP left there, and that means that we're not going to be able to get rid of him this round quite. Although the Epimetheus hasn't moved yet. I don't know if the Epimetheus manages to get LOS here. It does. Okay, cool. We'll position it here.
Roger. Full speed.
And this is pretty much a guaranteed kill on this Stalker. Light him up. There we go. No problem whatsoever. So the Stalker is down. Next up is going to be our Avatar. Okay, so the Avatar is going to move up over here and do absolutely nothing.
Let's hit him hard.
Looks good. So next up, they're going to move their Owens, but actually the Dragonfire is moving first. Firing on that Nidhogg. Okay. It didn't actually hit. But it is running a Gauss Rifle. That is noted. Phase 23 is going to be the Owens. We'll see what it wants to do here. It probably doesn't want to engage this. It'll probably run up this direction and fire at the Nidhogg. It's firing at the Marksman. Okay. It does manage to get a few hits in there. But that's an interesting position because it's now vulnerable to AoE attacks right over here. We'll see what that Marauder decides to do. It moves this round. Let's get our crossbow moving in as much as possible. Unfortunately, we're very limited in how quickly we can move in this area. So that's reasonably fine for now. The Marauder is going to move. It positions out over here. Okay. It gets very little done to the Nidhogg.
Nothing I can't handle.
I like it. So we see up here a Black Knight in addition to that Cyclops. They're firing indirect on the Epimetheus, which is fine. We don't really care about that. That's absolutely okay. And next up is our Nidhogg.
Yes, Commander.
Well, I kind of want to drop bombs up over here. Let's position here and see what's up here. So we see an Archer, a Black Knight, an Awesome, and that Cyclops. Okay. I'm thinking about dropping bombs on the Owens. It's centrally located. We can splash damage both of these. I'm not going to fire the rocket launcher because I feel like that's absolutely overkill. Let's do this.
Firing.
Okay, so the Owens is now unsteady. That didn't do as much damage to it as I would have hoped, but the Marauder did take some splash damage. The Dragonfire didn't take all that much splash damage. However, it is our Archer who is moving next. The Archer is going to move up, and we're almost certainly going to fire on the Owens here, but these hit odds are really very, very not good. Let's fire on the Owens and see what we get done. Maybe we manage to leg it, but this is mostly crit fishing at this point. Lower leg destruction there.
Want some more, huh?
But we didn't actually destroy that leg. So that's okay for now. Next up is their 2 phase 16 movers. So they're going to have their Archer move up. That's firing on our crossbow. To be honest, getting very little done there.
It tickled.
It did. Yes, that did indeed tickle. So our crossbow is going to step forward up over here, and we're going to continue to fire on this Owens. We probably want to fire this in ER mode. Yes, do it.
It's on now.
So that's a hip and foot destruction and an upper leg destruction on the Owens, and a knockdown. Was that the leg going? Yes, that was the leg going. So the Owens is legged. That is very good. The Awesome is, of course, going to fire on the Nidhogg. It managed to hit one of those PPCs. That's fine for now. Okay, next up is going to be our Black Knight. The Black Knight can fire from up over here. This is a pretty long-range shot, but we can absolutely fire at this Marauder. Hit odds are low, so we're going to fire in X2 mode with the binary. Unfortunately, we missed everything. That's sad, but at that range, I'm not shocked.
What?
At least we did stray shot. So next up is our Rifleman. The Rifleman really just needs to move forward, which is only 1 hex. Oof. This choke point is rough for us. No doubt about it. We're going to be getting out of the choke point eventually, but for now, we're not out of the choke point yet. We just got to move forward and move up over to here. That'll be another round or two. So the Marauder can position here. I don't necessarily love this positioning, but we can fire on their Marauder. I'm going to try it. Okay. So we managed to hit one of those. This Marauder almost became unsteady, but it didn't quite. We can move the Epi Prime up and position that right here and fire on this Marauder with the HVAC 20. We're out of range for the SRM, but we can pot shot that. Yeah, I didn't expect much out of it, to be honest. Okay, so next up, I really don't like this spawn position, but we had no real good options. Next up is the SPG, and the SPG is definitely going to attack the Owens here.
Feel the love.
With the idea being it also splash damages this guy. The Owens pilot ejected. So that looks good. We are halfway through this lance. These guys are still a long ways out. Now, we probably want to start working on some of these units here, for sure, with our Nidhogg. Next up is our crossbow, and the crossbow is going to step forward up over here. Let's check these hit odds. 18%, 12%, 16. It's not great. So we're going to fire on this Marauder, which we did manage to make unsteady.
Firing.
So that's something. But he'll get to move very soon here. Phase 19. So that's okay. Phase 23, this Black Knight is going to move, presumably attacking our Nidhogg. Yep, it does a fair amount of hits there. We need to get our Nidhogg accelerated up. This is the only target for these guys, right? So they're going to continue focus firing it. That Black Knight actually shut down. Okay. Phase 22, they're firing on our Archer. Okay, I don't mind that. That is absolutely A-okay. Next up is going to be our Epi Prime. And we can position the Epi Prime only here. Okay. It's clear LOS, 32% hit odds. Do we think we're going to backstab our friend? Maybe. I'm not going to fire the HVAC 20.
Roger that.
Okay. A few hits there. That's okay. The Crossbow X is... Why can't we move forward here? Oh. That's really awkward. The way that we have to pass this? That's even more awkward than I thought it was. Okay. Noted. Well, we're definitely going to fire on this Marauder, and this is going to do a lot of damage to it.
All weapons are go.
Structure exposure and a PPC crit.
That was a critical hit, lad.
I would have preferred if that PPC were destroyed. Unfortunately, the Marauder gets to move right now. So we'll see what it does here. It's going to back off a little bit. Sure. And then it fires on the Nidhogg. But it hit absolutely nothing there. So that's relatively okay. Next up is going to be our Archer. The Archer is going to step forward here, almost certainly firing on this Marauder. This is a crit fish.
Here we go.
But we don't have a lot of structure exposure there. So this Marauder is doing kind of okay for the moment, to be honest. We might have to pull back our Nidhogg. We'll see if these hit. One of those hit, and it only did 10 damage. That's definitely interesting.
Commander?
Next up would be our Black Knight. Now, the Black Knight needs to advance up to, like, here. It does not get LOS. We really need to make our way forward here, but, man, this forest is really rough. No doubt about it. That Devastator is getting attacked with AoE missiles, and it's fairly centrally located, so they get a decent smattering of damage done there. That's okay. This Marauder is absolutely going to move up to this point, but that's all the further we can go. Like, we're having a really hard time moving through this pass. The Rifleman is going to go here, and that's all the best that we can do. The Nidhogg absolutely needs to get moving here, and we're going to take it out over this way. Now, we can fire on this Black Knight, which is shut down at this moment, and get some splash damage on this Archer. That's exactly what I want to do. We're going to get everything firing here, go for the torso, the side torso on this Black Knight. Light him up. So that's the structure exposure. We took out a clan double heat sink there. Okay, so that Black Knight took a lot of damage. No doubt about that. Next up is our SPG, and the SPG is going to follow that up with an attack directly onto that Black Knight. Right into that CT, or rather into that left torso if we can. So more damage being dealt there. These guys have taken some amount of damage. No doubt about that.
Yes, Commander.
And our Devastator is going to move forward as much as it can. Looks like here is its positioning. It's not great positioning, but, I mean, this is just a really awkward place to be, right? It's really rough to get through this.
Good to go.
Next up is our Avatar, and that is going to position up over here. It's not great. It doesn't get an LOS on anything, but we got to continue moving forward. So next is our crossbow, and I kind of want the crossbow to fire on that Black Knight. Yeah, ER is going to be our best bet here, but we're going to run out of ER fairly soon. Let's fire on the Black Knight here and get guns off the field if we can. That's also a lot of heat sinks. That's really solid.
I'm out of LRMs.
Well, that type of LRMs. Okay, so next up is that Cyclops moving, firing on our Avatar. That's irrelevant. I don't care about that. So next, we are going to have Gorgon here move forward. This is all the more forward we can move. Okay.
Affirmative.
Man, it's really rough to move through that choke point. Oh yeah, they're going to power up. Absolutely. And they're going to continue trying to shoot at our Nidhogg, but it has even more evasive at this point. And it's in less of an exposed position, in theory, right now. So we're going to continue to move forward and attack that Black Knight for sure. Okay, they're firing at the Avatar. That is a good sign for us. That means that there's a lot of LOS out over here. And we're going to be able to take these guys out, in theory, relatively quickly. But we need to advance forward. So the Crossbow X is going to position here. We're going to fire on this Marauder. I don't expect the Marauder to, well, it could survive this. This is front arc. It probably won't.
Triggering an Alpha strike. Follow my lead.
AC-5 ammo explosion and a lot of damage into that Marauder. But it is still alive, so that's okay for now. But that is definitely not going to last very long, that Marauder. So next up, they're firing on our Devastator again with the AoE missiles. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it's flashed over a lot of targets, right? So that does ultimately end up doing a fair amount. So next up is our Archer, which is just going to step forward up over here. I want to eliminate this Marauder if we can. We're crit fishing.
Got it.
Another AC-5 crit. That's probably a knockdown. Panicked, but no knockdown. Okay, remarkable. So next up is the Epimetheus. This really should be braced, or rather reserved, I feel like, because we have nowhere to put it. We need to move some of these mechs first. The Awesome is going to fire on the Nidhogg. Remarkably, it hit 2 of those PPCs.
Reporting heavy damage.
Okay. For now, that's reasonably fine. The Black Knight can move up. This is really the only position it can go. 1 hex forward. Not ideal. We'll fire on this Marauder and see what we can get done.
Engaging.
Okay, we took out an AC-5 there, and hopefully that's a knockdown. Yes, there we go. So the Marauder is knocked down. That looks solid. Cool. And now it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's going to take us a while to get up here and eliminate these guys. So we'll see how that ends up going. But this choke point has been really rough for us, which isn't shocking. I did not want to drop there, but I didn't feel like we could drop out here very effectively either, because we would have had to make our way all the way around this way. Like, we didn't really have a good approach here. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Atala, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.